and we're here with Richard Sherratt. And a while ago at a family party, I seemed to be the only one that hadn't heard the story about the time that Richard had surfed at Esther Island during, I think it was an El Nino swell of epic proportions, where it was all glassy. I had heard about it from other people, but no one thought anybody had surfed it. All these guys at Seal Beach were sort of experts on it. So Richard told me the story that was so unbelievable that I felt compelled to have him retell it and try to capture it on videotape. So when exactly did this take place, and how did it happen?
Greg, I can honestly tell you, I don't remember what year it was. I think it was 85, but it might have been 83.
Yeah.
I think it was 85.
Yeah.
Do you actually know? I think it was February of 85.
Your mom thought it was like 85.
February of 85, and that was before forecasting.
Right.
So nobody really, in those days, we didn't know if a swell was coming or not.
Right.
We just didn't know.
Right.
I mean, it would pick up, it would go up, it would go down. If you were there, you got it. If you didn't get it, SOL. On this particular morning, it was kind of an anomaly. We just happened to be out in a boat. And the whole story starts, well, there was a boat in Long Beach that we needed to go view. We were looking at a boat to buy. It was on a mooring. So you needed to be on a boat to go see this boat.
Right.
So my friends and I, well, a friend of mine, Rel, and I made plans to go in my dad's boat, which was harbored in Huntington Harbor right back here.
Yeah.
To go out to motor over to Long Beach to view this boat. And we decided to take a skipper with us. The guy had a 100-ton license, boat expert, skipper, to help us survey the boat to find out if it was adequate or whatever.
Right.
So it was real early in the morning, and in those days, we liked to freeboard a lot. You know, nothing was going on. We'd tie the rope to the back of the boat, tow ourselves around on surfboards. My dad had this boat. It was like a 28-foot cabin cruiser type boat, threw a really nice wake.
Yeah.
So we used to bring our boards, tie up to it, and ride the wake. And we had planned to go out of Huntington Harbor, which is, we're in Surfside, which is kind of a peninsula, and on the other side is the harbor.
Yeah.
At Peter's Landing, where the boat was, we planned to go out to the boat, and those jetty rocks over there, that's the entrance of the harbor to the ocean.
Right.
The three of us were in the boat. Pierre, the skipper, myself, and Rel.
Yeah.
And as we're driving down Coast Highway from Huntington Beach at the crack of dawn, we saw these bomb waves in the wee hours of the morning. Like it was dark still, lights of the pier. We saw waves cresting through the pier that looked like 8 or 10 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the swell.
Yeah.
Let's go to Long Beach, get this done, and come back and surf.
Right.
So we board the boat.
Right.
And we're coming out of the harbor, going this way. We're coming out right alongside those rocks over there, inside. And the sun is cracking now, and we can start to see. And we see these waves crashing on the rocks, just like we've never seen before. It's unbelievable. And so we're going really slow at a no-wake speed coming out, and we're watching waves crash on both sides of the rocks. It's huge.
Out of this harbor right here.
That harbor right there.
Okay.
And we're in the middle of it, so there's a jetty there, a jetty on the other side. Both sides were crashing and exploding.
Off the jetties.
Yeah, off the jetty. And we got out, and it was kind of a misty morning.
Right.
You know, it was misty and it was ominous. It had this ominous feeling in the air. And we get out to the entrance of the harbor on this boat. And there's three of us.
Yeah.
I'm at the helm. It's my dad's boat. It's my dad's boat, so I'm at the helm.
Yeah.
And Rel is riding shotgun. He's like my first mate. Him and I have been boating together for years.
Right.
And Pierre's down below, the skipper, rustling up some grub.
Right.
He's in the cabin.
Right.
We're sitting, the jetty walls, there's one jetty, the south jetty that you see, and the north jetty. We're sitting right in the mouth of the jetty. And we're watching these amazing waves breaking way outside both sides of the jetty. And we're just amazed. And so that harbor mouth is dredged out deep because it's a shipping lane.
Yeah.
It's where the Navy ships come in. The Navy ships, actually, huge Navy ships come in that harbor and dock in there. It's a naval weapons station.
Yeah.
So it's very deep, very deep water. So now we're motoring. We're outside the harbor. We're actually in the ocean, but we're right dead center of the shipping lane.
Yeah.
And we're stopped and we're at an idle. Pierre's down below rustling up some food. I'm at the helm, and we stopped the boat because of the sight that was before our eyes was absolutely amazing. A set was coming in that stretched. It seemed like from Palos Verdes to San Diego, huge wall. And I'm like, Rel and I are looking at each other. We're like, look at the size of that wave.
Yeah.
We hadn't noticed the oil island yet, just hadn't even seen it.
Yeah.
It was misty and it was still beyond another mile out to sea.
Right.
And we're watching this wave and it's like breaking on both sides like this. And we're in the shipping lane and him and I both realize at the same time this monstrous wave is going to close out in the shipping lane and wash us up.
Yeah.
And so,
oh my God.
And so I go, Pierre, look at this. And Pierre comes up. So the cabin door, the walkway is right between. I'm at the helm, Rel's here. Pierre comes up, and all three of us at the same time, Pierre starts screaming. Rel looks at me, and I look at him, and he says, hit it! Pierre's going, turn around, turn the boat around. We're like, you can't turn the boat around.
No.
There's no way we can turn the boat around.
Right.
So we're like in a 28-foot cabin cruiser. It doesn't go real fast, but it goes pretty good once you get it going.
Yeah.
So I just, wham! I hit it thinking, we gotta get past this wave.
Yeah.
And it's going as fast as the boat can go.
Yeah.
And I remember, Rel's up holding on to the top.
Yeah.
Rel's standing holding, Pierre's standing there, and I could see his fingers digging into the fiberglass. He's going, ah! And he starts whimpering and crying. He's the skipper.
Right, the 100-ton guy.
100-ton.
I remember this story.
Oh man, I got the helm, and I'm trying to shove the throttle down as hard as I can, and the wave is feathering this giant wall. And I remember this like it happened this morning. We came to the wave, and the whole world stopped. The wave was almost vertical, and it was feathering on top, and we went, and we just started plowing up the face. And I just remember motoring up the face and then looking back and seeing that the boat, 28-foot boat, was completely in the middle of the face of the wave.
Oh my God.
And looking back and seeing wave under the boat and trough, and looking up and seeing the lip feathering.
Just like surfing on a small wave, but being in a boat.
Being in a 28-foot boat and just like,
oh my God!
And we crested over the top and we, whoa, poof!
So you got fully airborne.
Full airborne.
Yeah.
And we launched over the top of the wave.
Yeah.
It came down across the back of it.
Aiming down, probably. Yeah. Oh, God.
Water over the bow, and everything down below in the cabin just was crashing loose.
Yeah.
And as the nose came back up, water splashed across. We're still on the throttle.
Yeah.
And there's another one right behind it, feathering just the same, a little bigger.
Just like outside YMA on a big Wednesday.
Just another wave.
Yeah.
Ooh, and we just kept on it. And Pierre was just, I remember him. I remember his knuckles turning white, his hands just, I remember these bony, skeleton-looking hands just gripping the grip, and he's just curling down, and he's whimpering and crying. It's so funny. If I had a spare hand, I would have slapped him.
Yeah.
And Rel, my friend, is standing tall, yelling, "Charge! Charge! Give it more gas!" So the next wave comes, and the same thing. Every time you're going full speed, and every time you hit the wave, there's like such an energy in the wave itself. The boat goes, just like sucks all the juice out of the boat.
Wow.
And you then you start going up the face like in slow motion.
Yeah.
And you go up, and you're just begging to crawl over the top. In the second wave, we got airborne again. Boof! Down the back. And as we got over the top, same thing. We hit. The boat is crashing down below. Everything underneath is just flying. Big splash of water comes through. And I'm still holding on to the helm, and Rel's grabbing the other side, and Pierre's just crying and whimpering on the floor in a little cocoon shape. There was a third wave, and we went motoring into that one, and the third wave we got over pretty easily. It wasn't cresting and it wasn't vertical, but we still came over the top and went, woo, boom! And we got over the third wave, and there was no more waves. Now by this time, we're like halfway out to the oil island, and it was just this incredible feeling of, oh my God, what just happened? What just happened to us? So we just kept motoring, and we got far out enough where we felt safe. And we shook the cobwebs out. Pierre had crawled down into the cabin, got himself a bottle of whiskey, and came back to the top and started drinking whiskey, and he was crying. He cracked completely. It was so funny. So we sat outside, and we were to the south of that island, right, that oil island right there, and
You mean Esther or the other thing?
Esther, that platform we're talking about.
Right.
We're to the south of it, which is that way.
Yeah.
And almost out equal with it, because we motored outside. We're about equal with it and south of it.
Yeah.
And we're watching these humongous waves just come through.
Wait, just one question. What would have happened if you would have done what that Pierre guy said to do and turn around and...
The wave would have engulfed us.
And you would have just killed
caught
you.
up. Those waves travel too fast. We could never...
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the wave would have just ate us.
Because it fully broke, it just like a full-on hardcore wave.
Full-on wallet. It peeled
just right
like
out in
this,
the middle of the friggin' ocean.
right in the middle of the shipping lane. It came like this.
I think during that swell they said that those waves were hitting the bottom of that island, and that island's 50 feet off the water.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, but go ahead.
Absolutely. There's
Okay.
no question about that.
Okay.
So
you
we
did
sit up.
so you did the right thing. That was the only thing.
It's the only thing.
Yeah.
Pierre's yelling to go back,
Yeah.
and we're like, "There's no way." I'm
Right.
sure that way. I'm sure the foam ball crawled right through the harbor entrance.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
all the foam all the way
yeah.
across.
Yeah.
So we're sitting outside watching the waves. Now we're like watching these backs go. We're like, "Whoa, this is." So we go, "Well, we got business to take care of. You know, the boat's a wreck.
Yeah.
I already know I'm in trouble with my dad."
Yeah.
We're like, let's take care of the business. Let's go over to Long Beach, see the boat, and we'll come back. So we go buzzing over to Long Beach, we see the boat, blah, blah, blah. And we come back. As we come back around the outside of the island,
Yeah.
and about even with it, and now we're in the shipping lane again.
Yeah.
We want to stay in the shipping lane.
Yeah.
We want to be able to turn around and go back out if we have to.
Right.
So, it was the most amazing sight. The surf had increased, but it wasn't walls anymore. It was peaks.
Yeah.
And this peak, there was two peaks. One just to the north of the Esther,
Yeah.
and one coming right through it. Absolute perfection. Like you'd never seen such a perfect wave, and it was sheet glass. And the peak would come right through, and literally, here's the platform, and literally cover the platform and come right through it, and then break right on this side of it, like that.
Wow.
And it would break. It was a perfect peak, sheet glass.
Yeah.
And then a bigger wave would break behind it, and break, and then peel across.
Yeah.
It was an amazing sight. It was captivating.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't even put my finger on why I did this, but it looked so perfect. It didn't look big.
Yeah.
It was so big, it didn't look big because it was perfect.
Yeah.
So I had my surfboard on the board because we had planned on pre-boarding.
Yeah.
Of course, in those days, we didn't ride very big boards.
Yeah.
So we felt pretty secure in the shipping lane. There were other boats lined up.
Wait, what size was that board? Maybe.
It was a 6'6" thruster.
Oh, okay.
It's the only board I had.
Yeah.
You know, in those days, I was
Yeah.
24 or whatever.
Yeah.
Just so there was at that point several boats had lined up in the shipping lane, like along with us. We were sitting in the shipping lane. So there's an imaginary shipping lane adjacent to that oil island. And you can see where there's a boat south of the oil island now.
Yeah.
That's about where we were sitting, and there's probably 4, 5, 6 boats lined up.
Yeah.
And I looked at my friend Rel and I said, Rel, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna catch one of those. I'm gonna paddle in. And I kind of expected him to say, no, you're not going.
Yeah.
And he said, I might even try to stop you. And Pierre's down the bottle of whiskey, and he's just incredibly worthless.
Yeah.
He's whimpering and just out of his mind.
Yeah.
Big skipper.
Yeah.
So I dive off the boat, I put the wetsuit on, get the board, dive off the boat. You know, I paddle over, and I'm sitting where I thought the smaller wave was coming.
Yeah.
There was the bigger wave north of the oil island, and then the smaller wave that kind of literally came right through the oil island.
Yeah.
So I was sitting in front of the oil island, facing the oil island, really close to the oil island. And the very, very first wave that came through, I caught. I turned around and paddled, and I dropped in. Now, it was weird because it looked like sheet glass.
Yeah.
But with a wave that size, the smallest little ripple is giant.
Yeah.
So I dropped in and I turned across the top.
Yeah.
And I started shooting across toward the shoulder.
Yeah.
And I was, barely hanging on with this board. And boom, I was going like this, boom, boom, boom. I remember 3 or 4 bounces, and about the 5th one just bounced me right over the top.
Yeah.
And like there was like a light offshore.
Did you have a cord?
Yeah, I had a cord.
Okay.
Yeah. And it popped me over the top.
Yeah.
And now I'm over in like kind of a safer area because I'm over to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
And some more boats had lined up by this time. And now people are honking their boat horn. People are on the bows of their boats doing this. Oh, I got pumped. I was like, the adrenaline was just flowing. I'm thinking, I'll paddle back over and I'll move over north of the oil island and catch the big one.
Oh my God.
I'm not even thinking straight. It's not even me.
Yeah.
So I paddle over, I paddle back, I paddle to the oil island, I paddle a little bit north of it. This is taking a while now. And boats are lining up because there's something going on. Everybody's watching. And the peak shifts. Now the bomb wave, instead of coming north of the oil island, comes through the oil island. And I have no escape to the shoulder. So I'm caught inside. So this wave was huge, and I'm trying to paddle around it, over it, beyond it. So I really have nowhere to go because I would have to kind of paddle through the island, through the pilings of the island. When the waves started coming and they saw it on the bow, or saw it from our boat, Rel, he was on my boat, manning our boat. He's honking the horn, and he's doing this one, and I'm like, oh. So I'm paddling, man. I want to get out past this thing. There's no way. This wave broke behind, like the oil island, or right on the oil island, and I don't even know how many feet, something in front of the oil island, but very close to it. But I just remember thinking that, whatever I got to do, I got to hold on to my board. So I remember trying to dive, trying to punch, just holding my board with a death lock.
Yeah.
And I just remember this incredible impact of this wall of white water hitting me and just ragdolling me, just.
Yeah.
And the board just, it was almost like it disintegrated under me. It was just gone, just completely gone.
Yeah.
And I had, the string dangling, and this thing ragdolled me to oblivion. And I was in really good shape in those days. I was in super top shape. I trained, I worked out, I ran, and I fought my way to the surface and blasted through the top to get a big breath of air. And another wave is breaking right over me.
Was your leash on your board?
No, well, I know there was a piece dangling because eventually I just took it off my foot.
Right, but there was no board.
No, there was no board.
Yeah.
Board was gone. Board was gone. I had no idea. It's the last I ever saw that board.
Never saw it again.
Not a fragment. It was a great board too.
Yeah, it might 50-foot waves.
Yeah, right. So I came up through the wave. I came up, and there's another wave breaking, just long enough for me to take a gasp of air and try to turn around and dive. And wham! Plows me again.
Ragdoll.
Ragdolls me. And I come fight to the surface. 3-4 waves in a row, just pummeling me. And what was most amazing about this swell is it was so consistent that it literally did not let up for the whole time I was in the water. There might have been a minute or 2.
Yeah.
But never 10 minutes between sets.
Yeah.
And the sets would come 10 or 12 waves.
Yeah.
So first 3 or 4 waves just absolutely obliterate me. And I'm to the surface, and I'm thinking, oh my God. And I see, I'm thinking, I gotta swim. I gotta swim to the channel. So I try to swim, and there's just an incredible current that's just circling us. It's circling out from the oil island, around to the tip of this jetty, and around and out. And it's a circle, and it's a loop.
Yeah.
And I remember getting in that loop and getting pushed toward the rocks to where I thought the waves were going to wash me on the rocks.
On those rocks?
On those rocks, inside rocks.
Because it was just mayhem all over the place.
Mayhem. It was a current that was like a giant loop.
And so you got so close that you thought you were going to get and hit those rocks.
Well, I knew that I was getting pushed in the current.
In that direction.
And then but then it would just suck me right back out to where I was in front of the island again.
So you would go from that friggin' island all the way out close to those rocks, and then all the way out back that island again?
Right. And I don't know how close I got to the rocks.
That seems like that would take hours too.
Because every time I thought I got to the point where I could swim to the channel, I was too close to the rocks.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I had no control over that situation. I was in this loop that was going in a circle like this.
With foam all over the place.
Foam was like that thick.
Constant.
You'd have to throw the foam away to get air after you came up. So what would the typical scenario, I started to get it to the point where I had to, my first priority was swimming past the waves. So a set would come and it would break. And as it was coming, it was breaking, I'd be taking a big breath of air and I would dive. And I would dive and I would try to go as deep as I could dive. 10, 20 feet, whatever I could get. And then I would swim flat. And then after I felt that the wave had broken, I would try to swim up through the back and break through the top and then push the foam out of the way and get some air. And then another one would be coming. And I would dive deep, as deep as I could go. And then flat. This wasn't the typical dive and then come up. It was dive and then swim flat and then come up.
What was the water temperature, approximately?
It's cold winter temperature. I was wearing a full wetsuit.
Like this temperature, like 56 or something?
Yeah, it was probably, I don't remember it being so cold.
Yeah.
That would never cross my mind. It was full wetsuit. It was February.
Yeah, right.
I would say typical February. It's a 59 situation. But I was, I wasn't cold.
Right, okay.
And so this scenario went on and on and on, and the waves didn't stop coming. And 10, 15 minutes had gone by, and I was getting pummeled, absolutely pummeled, and I was out of breath, and I was sucking foam. And my buddy Rel, who was still in the shipping lane with our boat on idle, watching me with binoculars, knew I was in trouble. So he made this valiant rescue attempt. This is beautiful. A wave goes by. Rel gets a running start with the boat, flies full in with another wave coming in between troughs. And as he goes blasting by me, the boat was named Barbara Ann or something like that.
Yeah.
There was this ring buoy that said Barbara Ann on it, with this little ornamental gold rope hanging on the side like SS Minnow.
Yeah.
He grabs it and tosses it to me, and they tie the rope off to the cleat.
Yeah.
And I grab this thing.
Yeah.
And I remember this, another moment where time stops.
Yeah.
Where I'm holding this ring buoy, it's ornamental ring buoy, like SS Minnow.
Yeah.
And the rope actually loops around the outside of it with these little, and was holding rope on, it's like a little belt loop.
Yeah.
Made out of some little cloth. All around the outside of it. It's gold rope, little gold loops. It's an ornamental thing.
Yeah.
And I held onto this thing and I pulled it in like this, thinking the boat was just gonna yank me to safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm holding onto this thing, and as the boat pulls the rope tight, one by one, the belt loops broke. They went ping, 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 ping. Just like that, I said, oh! There goes the rope. I'm left holding this ring buoy. A wave is coming. Rel's got the boat. He's caught inside almost. So he's just doing everything he can to save the boat now, to loop around and get back outside.
Yeah, right.
Which he barely does.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I got the ring buoy and I'm like taking everything I can, as much rest as I can.
Yeah.
The wave just pummels me. Wow!
Couldn't ride it out with that ring buoy.
No, the ring buoy was gone. Ring buoy went away. I got ragdolled again. And
Probably worse than the other ones where you were...
Yeah, see, because I wasn't swimming through it.
Yeah.
But see, it was really weird. You have the choice of, I was so tired, I needed to hold on to something.
Yeah.
I needed that rest.
Yeah.
Even at the cost of getting pummeled again.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I'm like 15 minutes or 20 minutes into this deal.
Yeah.
There's no chance of rescue from the boat.
Yeah.
Rel almost loses the boat. So he tried, he couldn't do it. I'm swimming again, and the waves are relentless. It's one after another. I'm diving, swimming flat, coming up through the top, taking a breath, diving again, swimming flat, coming up, just plowing.
Did you think you were going to die, or did you think that you didn't even have time to think about that?
No, at that point I was like, I knew I was in trouble, but I knew I was going to be rescued, right? I'm like, there's no doubt I'm going to be rescued.
Yeah.
So here comes a helicopter. Helicopter comes over. Sheriff, bullhorn. They're going to attempt the rescue or some baloney like this. Next thing you know, they're hovering over me, and then all of a sudden, boom, they take off. Well, where are they going? Well, later on I found out that another one of these big waves came through and took a boat, one of the boats, up onto the rocks, and all these civilians in full clothes. The boat got up on the rocks and people were drowning and getting nailed on the rocks. And they figured, you know, a boatload of people with one surfer in a wetsuit swimming. Weigh it out. They were gone. So I'm left swimming. Still swimming. Now this is where it gets hairy. I'm waiting for him to come back. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, I really can't carry on this much longer. It's every single wave, and it's relentless, wave after wave.
You know what time period maybe went by since the first wave to right now?
Yeah, I'm in about a half an hour now. But because by the time Rel attempted to rescue, and the first helicopter came over, was hovering over me, was telling me everything was cool, they were going to rescue me through the bullhorn, and then they took off.
Yeah.
I'm 30 minutes in waiting for them to come back, but I'm thinking, well, until they come back, I got to preserve myself. I got to keep swimming.
Yeah.
So I'm swimming, I'm diving, flat, up, breath, dive, flat, up, just over and over again. And I'm starting to think, I can't carry on. I mean, this is crazy, you know, because it's getting to the point where I couldn't dive so deep and I couldn't swim so long flat. And when I came up, I'm sucking bits of foam. And I started getting a real delirium about me, you know. And there was a lot of praying going on, a lot of soul searching. Oh, I'll never do that again. I swear to God. You know? If you save me, I'll never surf again. You know all that. You know, you remember every little minuscule thing that's ever happened in your life, every person you wronged, every lie you told, and it was a euphoric delirium. And I remember the seagull just hovering over me the whole time, flying low. And I was just like talking to the seagull, and I was mechanically taking a breath. I'd dive, I'd swim, I'd come up. And I was getting to the point where I wasn't diving so deep, and I wasn't swimming so long underwater, and I'd come up and get semi-ragdolled, taking a breath. And now my buddy Rel knows that I'm in serious trouble. He can't save me. He almost lost my dad's boat trying to save us. And now it was, I don't know, the helicopter first rescue attempt was probably like I said, around 30 minutes in. And now, 15 minutes or so, the helicopter doesn't come back. And I'm just really losing it. I'm thinking, it was really weird. You know, you have these choices: just give up and go to sleep, or fight through it. You know, you think of all the crazy things you did in your life, the bad things, you want to change it. Give me another chance, I'll do it right this time, right? Or just go to sleep. And I wanted to go to sleep, I wanted to live, I wanted to swim on, so I kept plowing. I would say, oh, just go to sleep, just let me out of this hell, this terror. And then another side of me would say, no, wake up, just wake up. Swim, man, swim! So, I mean, I thought about things I had going in my life, I thought about my family and the things that I was doing. I just had to keep swimming. And so, I mean, now it's got to be like 45 minutes or could even been an hour in, and the waves are just relentless. They're nonstop, and I'm diving, swimming, the whole thing. and I'm out of energy. I'm tapped. I'm tapped. Well, the helicopter comes back, and they had made all these other rescues, and they came back, and a lifeguard with a buoy and fins on, dives out of the helicopter and swims up toward me. He says, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." It kind of gave me new life. And some waves were coming, so the helicopter went away, and the lifeguard gives me the buoy, and he dives, and I'm holding the buoy. Wham!
Of course. He should have given you fins.
Yeah, exactly. I get pummeled again.
Yeah.
I come up out of the water. The lifeguard says, he's next to me, and I'm like, but he doesn't want to get near me because he thinks I'm going to latch onto him.
Yeah.
I'm like, "I'm okay, man." I'm like, "Get the helicopter down here." He says, "Look, this is not a rescue helicopter. It's a sheriff's helicopter. They're a film crew. If the helicopter comes down low," this is in between waves, we're having this conversation. He's about this far away from me.
Yeah.
"Do you think you can grab on?" I said, "Yes, I can do it. Get the helicopter." So the lifeguard signals him.
Yeah.
Now, he's fresh, he's a lifeguard, and he's got fins on, and he's good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, waiting. So another wave comes, we both dive and swim up. So I come up, here comes a helicopter. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And he gets down to, he's probably, from what I can remember, 5 or 6 feet, like where your roof is, above me. And I'm going, "Come on, baby."
Yeah.
And I'm like a water polo player. Like, I'm doing the egg beater.
Yeah.
And I come up out of the water like this, And all of a sudden the helicopter goes, boom! And he just jets away. Well, what happened was a wave was coming.
Right.
And so he just jets away at full throttle. And I'm doing this, "Oh, come back." And another wave nails me. Wow! Just creams me. So I just get ragdolled again. I am losing it. I come up to the surface, 3 or 4 more waves pass. The lifeguard and I are swimming side by side. We're diving, we're doing the flat. See, I got new energy now.
But he didn't want to give you the fins, even though he's fresh.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't giving up his fins. We already lost his buoy.
Yeah.
Those buoys, those 2 buoys.
Yeah, well, that thing's a mistake out there.
No, it doesn't work, So, we're swimming together, but I got new life, I'm like, "Hey, I'm all right. I'm cool. I'm cool."
Yeah. It doesn't seem so hopeless.
Yeah, I got adrenaline.
It's close.
Yeah, right. So, after 3 or 4 waves, because they'd come in real close succession, we came up. Helicopter comes back down.
Yeah.
This time the guy comes down, and I just out of the water, egg beater out of the water. And this is a very, very vivid moment for me. It was a skid. It was an old helicopter, and it was a skid. It was almost like, curled up like a ski.
Yeah.
And I reached up and grabbed it and crossed my hands like this around it.
Yeah.
Wham!
Yeah.
And as I did, another wave was coming, and the pilot guns it one more time, and rips me out of the water.
Yeah.
Like, so fast. And within a second or 2 seconds, we were so high above the water, we're above the breaking waves.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, if the waves are so X amount of feet.
50 feet.
And then we're way above the breaking waves now.
Yeah, so.
And now I'm dangling like a kite tail.
Get your legs up on it.
No.
Yeah.
The G-force is too strong. He's got me stretched like this.
Yeah, from the moment that he pulled you out, you couldn't even swing your legs up.
No, it's not even a chance. And he's zooming from in front of the island toward the shipping lane, where all the boats are lined up to safety.
Yeah.
I'm dangling like a freaking kite tail.
Yeah.
And now I'm back to this delirious state again, because as he pulls me out of the water and I'm looking down, I'm thinking, we are so high above the water that if I fall, I'm dead.
Yeah.
And I'm holding on, and I'm thinking, man, you got to slow this thing down.
Yeah.
You got to slow down. You got to lower. You got to come down.
Yeah.
And I'm barely holding on.
Yeah.
And now I'm holding this skid of the helicopter, and my hands are doing this one. The fingers are holding, and I'm talking to myself. I step outside of my own body.
Yeah.
Watching myself dangle, watching my hands, the fingers separate slowly, and I'm saying, this is not real, because if this was real, and I couldn't hold on, and I fell, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
And just slowly I watch. Eventually, I'm like, no! Wham! Hit the water. Knocked me out cold. It was like my body was dead. My body was limp. And my mind had taken over. And I just laid there. And I remember I had that impact where it completely knocked the wind out of me. And I could see the surface. I must have been 10 or whatever feet deep. And I could see the surface and the sun shining through the surface of the water. And I laid motionless like this. And my mind was just telling me, relax, relax, relax. Because even though if I had any air in my lungs, I couldn't use it because the impact gave me that knock the wind out of you effect where you're like, you know, it's like
times 100.
Yeah, like I was collapsed.
Yeah.
And I laid there and I didn't move, just laid there. And eventually, and the whole time I'm telling myself it's not real, because this just doesn't happen to people. Then I had this effect where I burped internally. It almost like it inflated. My lungs went from a collapsed state to an expanded state. And I regained some kind of a consciousness. And I was able to luft like this up to the surface. And then my head came above the surface. And then I just remember the harbor patrol, the red boat. A couple of meat hooks, these guys grabbed me just like this, pulled me up on the deck of the boat and just flopped me there, and I was like...
Because they at least had gotten you out of the circle of doom.
Yeah, they had got me right to the edge where the waves were breaking and peeling, and that was it. I was still 10 feet to the right, and I'm in the impact zone. And so when the boat came and got me, they were in jeopardy as well. So they just ripped me out of the water. Because I remember being right at the edge and a foam ball coming toward us like this. And I was like, the consciousness was, I was both unconscious physically and cerebrally conscious at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was on the deck of the boat and it was an incredible experience. I remember I went from 193 to 180 pounds in 1 hour's time. And I weighed in after that. Feeling real true.
Do you have any estimation of how high you were up in that helicopter when you fell?
See, that's the thing. I remember telling myself while I was dangling there that I had to be 100 or 150 feet because it just seemed like I was so high. But I know it's not accurate. I don't know how high I was, but he had to pull me out so fast because of the oncoming wave and the height of the wave.
Yeah.
And we were so high up that the boats looked small. It looked small. I was looking down on boats.
Yeah.
So that was a really bizarre part of it, and just watching my fingers slowly separate, and being able to stand outside of my own body and say, "That ain't real."
And when you fell, you don't know, like if you went feet first or you dove.
Yeah, I
you
did.
Probably just like hit on your back or flop or something.
I hit with my feet first, but like this.
Yeah.
So the feet. And then a butt flop and a back flop.
That sounded like almost the best way you could have hit.
Yeah, and I remember my jaw getting slammed shut.
Yeah.
And I broke 2 of my inside teeth.
Oh my God.
From just slamming shut.
Wow.
And the impact, it literally knocked me cold.
Yeah.
And I just laid there and floated. It's really ethereal kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much the whole thing in a nutshell.
Yeah, but I also remember there was like a, what would you call it, a epilogue of afterwards and something about Pierre being in a bar.
Oh!
With his own different story.
That is so beautiful.
That's worth the follow-up.
Pierre is a local barfly in Newport Beach. And so, Rel and I, same guy, we're lifelong friends. We're in this Sunday afternoon reggae bar in Newport Beach. We're standing on the deck, not unlike the one I'm on right now. Him and I are having a beer.
Wait, and when is this? The same day?
Oh, no. This is later. This is a year or 2 years later or something.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there having a beer, and there's a lot of people, there's a little calypso music going on. And over, there's a little group kind of adjacent to us. We hear this guy just waxing hard,
Yeah.
weaving this incredible tale of his heroism at sea as a skipper. And he had this little group of people captivated, and how he skippered this boat, and it was our story. And he told it from his perspective of how he was at the helm, and how we were crying, and he was jumping the waves and slapping us and telling us to come to our senses, and how he made this heroic rescue attempt to pull me out with the ring buoy, and he summons the helicopter, and an incredible story. And then we were there, we called him on it right in front of everybody. Pierre, you were tearing the glass coat off the boat with your fingernails. It was beautiful.
So that put a little damper just by coincidence on his bragging rights to that story.
Oh yeah, and the rumor is around Newport he's told that story hundreds of times. 'Cause he's a local bar fighter. That in itself is pretty funny.
When you first told that story, and I think it was just maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I heard it, I could tell that back then, that when you were telling it, you were like going back, and that pain was coming back, and it seemed like during this amount of time that it doesn't seem as painful because maybe enough time went by, so you know it's not as painful for you to tell the story. That's what I noticed between this time and the last time.
Yeah, you know, you're probably right. I mean, there was a period of time there where it just vexed me deeply to be involved. It was just something weird about a person goes through life and they understand something deep down in their mind, knows that someday they're going to have to come face to face with something that they're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Or fold.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was a turning point in my life right then and there. And I had to deal with that, and it vexed me deeply. To this point in my life, a lot of things have changed now. You know, I have children, and I have new life beyond me, and I'm stronger in a lot of ways. I think I learned from the experience of nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, true though, at one point it was a very painful experience to even recall it.
Well, earlier today you were telling a story about your first experience of even witnessing surfing in that harbor. Can you sort of tell that story?
Well, my grandfather had a boat when I was a child, and to date the boat would make me about 2 years old or 3 years old. And we were going out of the harbor mouth at Newport Harbor.
Yeah.
And in those days, if you're going out of the harbor mouth into the ocean, the wedge would be on the right, and Corona del Mar would be on the left. Corona del Mar to the south, the wedge to the north. And it had to be a south swell, because that's the only time that place breaks. Well, in those days, before a lot of dredging technology and such, sand would build up on the inside of the rock wall, the jetty wall. And when the wedge would break, the inside rock wall would peel. And I remember my first exposure to surfing was seeing a guy, and this was like 62, 63.
Right.
Seeing a guy on a big long plank riding this foamy wedge that was running on the inside of the bay down the jetty. And he was surfing it. And this wave never got away from the jetty. It never peeled out in the bay. It just foamed right along the jetty, and this guy was surfing it. And then he wiped out. And he got, was bored up on the rock, and he was mangled and the whole thing. And I knew it was a strange thing. I knew at that point I had to surf. I needed to surf. Surfing was going to be part of my life. And then also that surfing was inherently dangerous. There was a certain danger to it that sometime in life you're gonna come face to face with a certain issue of danger that you'd have to deal with, aspect of danger. So as I grew up surfing, I always had a specific fear that there was going to come a day where I would have a life or death challenge that I would have to deal with. I don't know why, I always had that fear. And then that happened. And I felt, on one hand, I even felt relieved that it was over with. I don't have to deal with that anymore.
So, will you ever surf that oil island again? You live right in front of it.
Maybe on a tow-in basis.
Because you still surf some gnarly waves.
Yeah, I know. I still like to surf big waves, but not giant waves. I like to surf, clean, Tabarua, G-Land style big.
Yeah.
not Waimea, Mavericks, Todos Santos style anymore. I kind of got over that.
Yeah.
Had my run though.
Okay, well, I think you did a good job for me here. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Greg.
I just thought it would be a good idea to get Richard's mother, Dorothy, to say a few words on the videotape, because earlier when I came over and told her that we were going to do this interview with Richard, she had a few things to say. Can you remember what you said about that same day?
Sure, Greg. I was at work that particular day, and during my duties at work, I just felt this very oppressive feeling. It was like there was a black cloud just hanging over my head, and if I looked up, there was this darkness over me. And this lasted, for quite a while, maybe an hour and a half or so. It was just a real oppressive feeling. And I told my coworkers, you know, something is wrong. I have this horrible feeling, and I can't put my finger on it. And sure enough, a few hours later, I received a call from my son at work, which is really unusual. He never calls me at work. And he sounded very far away, just real far away. And I said, Richard, what's wrong? Are you okay? And he said, Mom, you won't believe what happened. It was incredible. And once I heard his voice, that feeling just went away and everything was okay again. That mothers and sons are very closely connected, and I think he was in his way reaching out at that particular time.
Yeah, well, okay.